Hi, welcome to the Brave Enough Show. It's your host, Dr. Sasha Shillcutt. Thank you for joining in. So excited for this season. I think the topic is really, really amazing and encouraging and inspiring. And there's so much negativity in our world today that I wanted to bring something to women this season that will make you feel okay, that you'll feel inspired, that you'll feel how powerful you are and how much agency you have in the world, and that you have the ability to create small, courageous, brave moments for yourself every single day. And I just don't think this is something that we're hearing. Like get on, social media or the news or anywhere, everyone's talking about what's going on in our world. And I'm not saying put your head in the sand. I'm saying understand that you as a human being have a lot more power and agency and ability to create small, brave moments in your day and to feel good, even when life around you is falling apart. Okay. So today we're going to be talking about bravery in those small moments because this is real life. This is what life is really about. We'd like to think it's these, huge mountaintop experiences. And if you're not having them every quarter, then something's wrong with you. You're in the wrong job. With the wrong person. You're in the wrong family, or you've chosen things wrong for yourself. But the truth is that small, courageous moments are really what stack up in life and allow us to have joy, allow us to have like true peace in our life. And honestly, it's what allows us to have success. So I want to encourage you, if you have never been around a group of women, if you're isolated, if you're lonely, if you're feeling like something in my life needs to change, I need something, but I don't know what that is, I want to encourage you to come this year to the Brave Enough Conference. It's in Scottsdale, Arizona. I put it on every year. And this is going to be our 9th conference. We're going to gather. We're going to rest. Yes, rest in the afternoons. You're going to be able to enjoy the beautiful resort. But most importantly, you're going to be surrounded by women who understand you, women who get you, women who support you. You're going to hear from inspiring, real life speakers who get it, who are in the trenches, who understand what it's like to try to balance all the things and feel like you're constantly behind or constantly failing. You're going to hear from women that have stories of setting boundaries and changing their lives and how they've gone about that in small, brave, courageous moves, which is what we're talking about today. So go to braveenoughconference.com, sign up. I want you to be there. I want you to be around other people who are going to encourage you and support you. And you're going to leave with a sisterhood of support. You're going to leave with women who are your battle buddies, who understand you. You're going to feel so much better when you go home. Okay, so today we're talking all about how everyday decisions and just showing up in your life can build so much courage. And it can allow you to go from being afraid to speak your mind, being afraid to stand up for yourself or for whatever's going on around you that is unjust, or maybe negotiate needs for yourself. It's going to make you go from someone who feels guilty doing that or scared to do that to someone that feels okay doing that. And I love this topic because I named my company Brave Enough, 10 years ago when I started it. And the reason that I named it Brave Enough is because I had this, very set path in front of me in academic anesthesiology. And as a physician, you just know what you need to do next to move forward. You're going to do this, and then you're going to do that, and then you're going to do this next thing. And this is how it's going to work for you. This is kind of what we're taught. And we work so hard to get on the path of medicine or whatever path you're on that getting off that path is quite terrifying. And you have a lot of questions like, what am I doing? I'm going to, take a different path that no one's done before, or I'm feeling drawn to this thing, or I'm feeling unsatisfied in my job, or I'm feeling like excited about this opportunity. And yet it is in conflict. It's in conflict with what I know, at what everyone's expectations are, whether it's a positive thing or whether you're feeling stuck. Changing takes courage, right? And so when I started feeling this pull to create something for women specifically, where we could come together and gather, and I could share what I was going through and share pearls that were helping me or share tips that were helping me, it was very opposite of what a lot of people around me saw for me and encouraged me not to do it. I mean, quite frankly, some of my strongest mentors and leaders around me were like, what are you doing? And I realized that like just starting a community for women, which I'm doing it there. Do you hear me minimizing it? But honestly, at the beginning, it was just starting a community. But I'm trying not to minimize it. It's just true, though. Like it was really, I just wanted to start a community in the beginning. I didn't have this grand idea to have a podcast and write books and all that. But that felt so in conflict with the path I was on that I thought, just speaking this out loud and saying, I'm going to build a community for women is the most brave, courageous thing I can do. And being myself every day is brave enough. That's being brave enough. And so that's where I came up with the name. Like, are you brave enough to live your truth? Are you brave enough to live every day in your regular work day, voicing your opinion, asking for what it is you need, and truly living authentically to you? What does that look like? What does that feel like? And it takes massive courage to do that. And anyone that tells you it doesn't is not a woman or has not living the same path or the life that you are. Because I'm telling you, women get so many messages all the time on what you should be and how you should be and how you should act and how you should dress. And, just it's not just women. I mean, look at I have teenagers and young adults, and I look at all the messaging that comes to them, and it exhausts me on how they should live and what they should do and the words they should use and what they should eat and what they should post and how they should dress. And it's just like, oh my gosh, like, where is the messages that being courageous means just showing up every day as yourself and making decisions that are best for you? That takes immense courage. So I'm excited today because I want to talk about the everyday. I want to talk about what it means to truly have bravery in the small moments. Okay. It's the small moments. It's the small decisions, like today, getting up, working out when I didn't want to, sending emails that I wasn't motivated to send, scooping up my vitamins when I don't really want to take them. Those are the small moments that create success, right? It's the following up with people. It's the closing the doors. It's the opening the doors. It's those small movements in life that really, truly count. If you are a parent, you know this. You know that it's the small conversations you have with your kids. It's the texts. It's the connections that you make. It's just little small moments that add up and make for a good parent-child relationship. It's the same with any relationship. Well, it's the same for courage in yourself and taking that step to be authentic. And so I want, number one, my first point is, let's redefine bravery. When I think of bravery, I think of Mel Gibson in Braveheart on a horse and a sword, right? Like that's kind of the big thing that comes to our mind is like, oh, this is bravery. This is courage. This is what you have to be labeled brave. But I want to redefine that today. Number one, I don't think it's about taking big steps and making big decisions. I think it's not about quitting your job, starting a business, or, whatever. It's sending emails that you're afraid to send. It's sending texts that say, this isn't healthy for me. I'm going a different direction. It's setting a boundary and saying, I'm not answering work email at night, so I will answer this in the morning when I'm back at work. It's setting a boundary with your family or your kids or your partner or whoever you do life with and saying, I need 15 to 20 minutes of decompression time. I've had a really long day, so I'm just going to go outside and take a little walk, and I'll be back to join and make dinner in 20 minutes or 30 minutes. It's saying, I can't go to this because I need to take some sleep because I've had a really long work week and I'm exhausted. Whatever it is, that is courage. That is bravery, those small micro moments. And it shapes who we are, and it allows people to respect us. That is my second point, is like, When you're courageous and brave and in the small moments, that's where respect comes. I mean, there's a lot of people that I wouldn't say I'm friends with or I am close to, but I have immense respect for because I always know where they stand. And they're very courageous in the small everydays to say, I don't agree with that decision, or this is actually what I think we should do. And I want that to go on record, or that's not what's best for me, or I'm not going to say yes to this, Sasha, because even though you've asked me, I'm honored. It doesn't fit with my life. Those are the people that I have immense respect for because they're brave and courageous in the small moments. And I want you to feel empowered and encouraged. If that's you, if you're making brave small moves, that's huge. It's huge. It doesn't mean that you aren't a courageous person. I would say that's going to actually lead you to greatness, is making those small, brave moves. The second thing is having a no without guilt, having a guiltless no. I've done an entire podcast on this in a previous season because I get a lot of coaching feedback when I coach women on, how did it go when you said no to X, Y, or Z? And they'll say, oh my gosh, I can't stop thinking about the guilt. I feel so bad. I was terrible. I had a somatic reaction where I had a stomach ache all day. I got a headache. I had anxiety. I just feel like everyone's judging me, even though I know what I did was right for myself. So maybe it's stepping down from a position or saying no to more call, or I don't know what it is but whatever that brave small move what you made, people typically feel a lot of guilt when they say no. And I think I want to reframe this because when you say no, you're really saying yes to you. You're saying yes to your well-being. You're saying yes to maybe your family. You're saying yes to the next thing. I recently got asked to do something that was going to take a weekend of my life, and it's far away in the distance. And I really like the people. I like the situation. I like the event. I like the movement behind it. I also know that saying yes to something that is going to be a year-long commitment and take a weekend of my life is going to be saying no to a lot of other things. And I had to say no. And it was really hard because I like the people. And I would have had fun. But I knew that at first I was really focused on the no. And I was like, oh, this is going to hurt their feelings and they're never going to ask me again. And they're going to think bad of me. And then I was like, but this isn't a no. It's a yes to me. It's a yes to what I know I'm building next year that I need to be present for. And who knows what else is going to be coming up in that time frame that I'm not going to be able to do because that aligns more with what I'm doing now. And it's all about alignment. And so I said no. And I think that when we change the way we see a no to a yes, we're saying yes to ourselves. It really changes our ability to flex and build the no muscle. Okay. So I want you to think of saying no as a skill. And the more you do it, the easier it becomes. And saying small no's really build the muscle of when you have to say the big no. Because when you're someone who continually rises and has success in life, you're going to get asked to do more and more and more. And some people don't understand that. They're like, why does everybody ask me to do this? Why don't they ask this person at work or this person at work? Well, number one, it's probably because you show up and get it done. The second thing is it's a compliment when someone's asking you to do something, but you need to separate your answer from the ask. Someone asking you to do something doesn't mean you have to say automatically yes, right? So a lot of people get confused about that. When you say no in small moments, it allows you to say yes in those big moments. The next courageous small move, the brave small move I want you to think about making routinely is speaking up. Speaking up when it's easier to stay silent. All of us go through this. All of us, whether it's a team meeting, whether it's a text from someone, choosing to use your voice, even briefly, is very courageous. And I know so many people who will regret not speaking up. I coach them. I experience it myself where I'm like, oh, I should have said something. I don't know times. I never have regretted speaking up when I'm in control of my emotions. There's definitely been times where I've spoken up when I haven't been in control of my emotions, and I regret those times. But when I have been in control of my anger and I can speak calmly, I never regret speaking up. I never regret speaking up for something that I feel strongly about or passionate about. And this doesn't have to be even an injustice. This can just be an idea. You know, a lot of times we sit around meetings and tables and we have ideas. We have an answer. We have a different way of looking at a problem. We have a different point of view. And we're too afraid to express that point of view because it's contrarian to the majority of the voices around the table. And we automatically go to, I can't speak up because this is unpopular, or I don't have enough experience, or I don't have all the power. And we start judging all the power differentials around the table in micro moments, and we stay silent and we don't share our idea. And I think that it's so important for us to practice honesty in low stakes moments so that when we're in those high stake moments, we can speak up when it really, really counts. We can say things. There's been a lot of times where I've spoken up in meetings and no one has had my back. Everyone is just looking at me. And then afterwards I get texts. Thank you for saying that. Thank you. Yes. I wanted to say that. I was going to say the same thing. Now my gut reaction is I get angry because I'm like, why is it always me? Why do all these people expect me to speak up? I speak up and then nobody has my back. I don't speak up anymore unless I am okay with no one having my back. Because when you think you're going to have, when you only speak up hoping someone else is going to have your back, you're going to be disappointed. So I don't expect other people to have my back, but I also I don't say, oh, no problem. I'll be the one that say it. I'm not the sacrificial lamb. I used to be the sacrificial lamb. I'm not that person either. I speak up when Sasha, Sasha wants to say something, and I don't expect anyone to have my back, because otherwise that leads to bitterness and anger and frustration with your colleagues or your family or whoever. So, you know, it is a very intentional thing to speak up, but man, a lot of times I think we miss out on the solution to our problem or a different way of looking at the problem because we don't have that diversity of thought, because we haven't made people around the table feel empowered to speak up. And that's what I want to do today is I want you to speak up. That's courage. That is those brave small moments that I'm talking about, is really speaking up, especially practicing it in the low stake moments so that you feel comfortable in the high stake moments. Okay, the next thing is that I want to leave you with is courage is a muscle. It's a muscle, my friend. It is for sure a muscle. And if you don't use it, you'll lose it, okay? You have to build it daily. You have to just say I'm going to be uncomfortable and I'm going to say something. Not but and. Oh, because what I hear a lot is I wanted to say whatever. And I'll say, well, why didn't you? I was afraid this person was going to judge me, or I was afraid that I would get backlash later, or I would pay for it. You know, it's interesting. We all work in areas, or maybe even in our family structures, where there's power differentials. And there's unspoken rules, right, on who gets to speak up. Even people at the same, level at work, one person will be really outspoken. We've all been in areas like this where there's 2 or 3 people who are really outspoken and they sway the group, right? They sway the thoughts. They sway groupthink. And a lot of times it's the people who don't feel empowered to speak up that have a lot of things to add, and we don't hear their voices because there's this unspoken rule that you don't speak up. Only these people speak up. And I want to challenge you today to start using your voice and start saying no and start saying yes to you. Start showing up in courageous moments, small, brave, courageous moments in your day. And then ask yourself how it feels. How did that feel? How did it feel to say, actually, I'm not going to do that today. That doesn't work for my schedule. Or no, I'm not available. Please reschedule. I remember the very first time I said no to someone in power who would consistently call me for meetings with no agenda. And it would just stress me out. I was like, I never knew what I was walking into. Sometimes it would be a good thing. Sometimes it would be a dumpster fire. And it was psychologically like stressful for me because I would be in the middle of my workday and get, called. And I never knew what the agenda was. And I could not, prepare myself for this. And I remember the very first time I emailed this person and said, I need an agenda before I can meet today. Oh my gosh. I sat there and stared at that email before I hit send, like for 15 solid minutes. And then when I hit send, it was like just massive anxiety, pit in my stomach. This is going to come back to bite me. I'm going to get yelled at. I'm going to get backlash. I'm not going to get this future promotion. I'm going to get judged for this. I just went through this cycle of whatever. Now I'm in a totally different situation with that person and my job. And I'm like, I would never go to a meeting. I would never even think of saying yes to a meeting with this person without an agenda. But in the beginning, I did not have that courage to say, no, I need an agenda to meet before today so that I could mentally and, just honestly prepare myself for what maybe I needed to bring information. Maybe I needed to look something up. So I look back and I go, wow, that was kind of the start for me of standing up for myself. That was the start of me saying, wait a minute, I'm a person too. And if you want to meet with me and you want my whatever, you're going to need to provide me with information so I can be there and I can show up fully prepared and have a psychologically safe environment for myself. So I did not start out that way. I was constantly just running at the whim. And that was a pivotal moment. It was a small thing. It was just an email. It was a response to an email. But I have such better boundaries now with that person and with all people I work with. And also, I respond appropriately. I would never call somebody to a meeting without letting them know exactly what it is. In fact, when I say I need to meet with you with anyone that I employ or anyone that I work with, I will say it's about this because I know what it's like to be on the other side of that. So courage is a muscle. We build it daily. When we practice bravery, especially in our everyday environments, relationships, work environments, with our kids, with our partners, that's where we really start to get big. We start to grow and we start to stop playing small and stop the conditioning that we as women are used to doing, which is just respond to whatever is the status quo and whatever's expected of us. And when we find that courage, it is so powerful. And courage isn't always a loud, big move. It's not quitting your job. It's not, doing something big. Sometimes it's just whispering to yourself, I'm not going to shrink today. I'm not going to shrink today. So thank you for listening. Please give me a shout out if this encouraged you. Send it to someone else. Give me some votes and some ratings on Apple iTunes on the podcast because I think that it really helps other people find the show. And there's so much negativity out in our world that I want to be a voice of positivity and encouragement. And I want anybody that spends 15 minutes listening to this to leave feeling good and feeling inspired and feeling better about themselves because what we do every day is hard work. It's really, really hard work out there. So if you love this kind of stuff, make sure you sign up for my newsletter because every Friday I have a newsletter called The Scoop and I write what I'm thinking that week, what I'm going through that week. It's a very short 30-second read to encourage you. I also write a blog every other week. That's included in there. I put the podcast episode in there. So just sign up for my scoop. It's on my homepage at becomebraveenough.com. And as always, live brave.